Retreating for a break from the conference fray, Vince Cable's got many people talking at this conference about when he might quit altogether. In a speech 2 weeks ago, he said he would lead until Brexit was resolved or stopped. Meanwhile, he wants to open up the race for the leadership succession to non-MPs and allow supporters who don't actually join up and pay a membership sub a chance to vote on the leader.
I think that would make people who are already members think, well, what am I, what is this all about? So I think there should be a way. You can't have people just registering for free. They've got to cough up.
I think so. Do you have a clear idea when Vince Cable intends to stand down?
I think he said after Brexit. That's when he's intending.
And do you know when that is?
Sometime next year.
That's your understanding?
Yeah,
he would go sometime next year?
Probably. I've got no idea when he's going to go, because he said he'll go when Brexit gets sorted. So that's another 50 years, is it? Or whatever, 20 years or whatever.
Do you think he should go a lot sooner than that?
I'm not sure, but he doesn't seem to be that effective.
But the logic of your reforms is that the party, to break new ground, to revive itself properly, needs a fresh face, perhaps even someone from outside Parliament. But you're putting that off for months and months, who knows how long. You're saying,
well,
you're acknowledging the problem and that you perhaps might be part of it, but saying you're not going to quit the stage.
I'm not part of the problem. I'm being successful in what I'm doing. But what I'm trying to do is to have an orderly, grown-up, professional succession. I mean, I know politics often isn't like that, but I've set myself a series of specific tasks.
The internal reforms are a big part of that task list. Tom Pitfield has been advising on them. He worked for Justin Trudeau's Canadian Liberals as they resurrected their party with similar changes.
From my experience in Canada, and I'm the kind of person who loves to jump in with both feet, and I have the luxury of not having to worry about the consequences. I think a leadership race would be a very exciting thing for the Lib Dems, and I think it's inevitable that it will happen.
But it'd be good if it happened quite soon, for the project, for the rebirth.
I would think sooner is better than later.
If you stood as the Liberal Democrat leader at the next general election, it were to fall, say, May next year, you'd be doing so on the basis that you were leaving the post quite soon.
No, that would be a completely different situation.
You might stay for years and years.
Well, I'm not Robert Mugabe. I'm not trying to stay till I'm 100. But it would, I think, fundamentally change the situation if we had an election and we found ourselves in a strong position in the next Parliament. But even in that position, I'm not going on forever.
But you know the issue I'm talking about, because many senior figures in the party have been lobbying you privately not to pre-announce that you're going, because you end up as a lame duck. Better you go quickly the moment you've announced that you...
Well, I think I've had one person to suggest that. I think the overwhelming bulk of my colleagues are very much in favour of what I'm doing, and they think it's a creative and positive step forward. I'm no apologist for it.
For weeks, rumours swirled that Gina Miller might be the outsider who could succeed Vince Cable. Today, the businesswoman who took the government to court over not consulting Parliament on Brexit got a standing ovation for a speech in which she ruled herself out for that job.
Today I speak to you as a friend, someone who feels a bond with you on so many issues. But may I say straight away, particularly for the journalists in the audience who might be speculating, I am not addressing you as your leader in waiting.
Just before that, delegates affirmed their support for a second referendum on Brexit, their exasperation showing in the language.
The Lib Dems will do everything in their power to stop a disaster of Brexit. The Lib Dems will stand up for our pro-European principles, and I hope you will vote in favour as this Lib Dem as she tells you, bollocks to Brexit.
We need that anger and to ramp up our language. So I'll say it like my dad would have said it. Emperor Brexit is stark bollock naked. It's crazy, it is mad, it is utter lunacy.
Vince Cable says Brexit and shifts in the two main parties have left millions politically homeless. In his speech tomorrow, he'll try to point to a path that could make them choose the Lib Dems. Gary Gibbon, Channel 4 News, at the Lib Dem conference in Brighton.